McGregor Forever is marketed largely as a redemption story, one in which the renowned Irishman battles back from the setback of having his leg broken in the Dustin Poirier fight, along with exercising his demons which have largely plagued him throughout the latter stages of his career. His previous violent outbursts outside the ring and alleged substance abuse are depicted as a thing of the past, as the documentary consistently hails McGregor as a devout family man, showing an unwavering commitment to his children and wife. Yet not only is the overarching point of the documentary largely redundant, as Conor hasn't fought since his loss to Poirier in July 2021, but it also entirely omits the sad reality of Conor's worsening condition. I want to stress that this is solely my opinion, but I feel the recent evidence is increasingly disturbing. In much of the footage from the documentary, Conor appears jubilant, charismatic and healthy. It's clear to all viewers as to why he reached the summit of the sport, escaping from a poor suburb of Dublin to accumulate unprecedented wealth as a combat sport athlete. The episodes detail a driven, determined individual who expertly marketed himself to the world, both through his hilarious and exuberant persona, combined with him embracing his Irish heritage. His commitment to MMA and desire to return to the top is obvious, perhaps neurotic at times, but one does get the sense that the obsessivity of this mindset can quickly turn from a valuable asset to a catastrophic hindrance. If someone like McGregor does not have a tangible goal at the forefront of his mind, or even worse, does not see a possible route back to the summit, then it can rapidly spiral downwards.
We'll take confidence going into the fact that she was beating her before in the amateurs. Pros is a longer game, it's not, obviously it's a longer game, so it's a nervous one,
You'll be there, right?
Getting right up there, you might think, so sponsor, cross up there. I was gonna be to the way as they just, I couldn't, I'm just trying, I got me training it.
Conor McGregor has never claimed to have used cocaine, nor has the Irishman ever been found with the drug in his system by the UFC. But with it coming up to 2 years since McGregor actually fought in the octagon, the testing has almost certainly stagnated. It is common knowledge that Conor has remained outside of the USADA drug testing pool, and is only compelled to rejoin by the 1st of June of this year.
Allegedly, Conor McGregor does coke. Allegedly. I don't know if he does coke. Seems like kind of guy who might do a little coke.
Famous figures within the MMA sphere, such as Joe Rogan and Jorge Masvidal, have made accusations of the Irish star using the drug, with Rogan implying that it fueled McGregor's actions during the infamous bus attack ahead of the bout with Khabib, and Masvidal stating that the only thing that makes him want to get out of bed is cocaine. Furthermore, UFC legend Jim Miller made a country song about McGregor's alleged cocaine use on April the 6th, 2018.
When the attack is done, gotta go on the run, cocaine.
The point I'm trying to make is that, although not undoubtedly proven, there has always been rumblings regarding the Irishman's supposed cocaine usage from those in the MMA. If these allegations were to be true, and it has in fact gone on for a number of years now, then it runs contrary to the documentary's message, which conveyed the overwhelming impression of a man who was utterly obsessed with the pursuit of victory, training religiously and using innovative methods of recovery to ensure his body was essentially a temple. Furthermore, the documentary provides no insight into the Conor of present day, who from his brief appearances in the media seems to be far from his former mental and physically healthy self. It's not for definite, but the signs are there of an individual who is indulging in dark habits, perhaps like drinking and gambling, possibly to cope with his increasing absence from the octagon. I'm not against people enjoying themselves, obviously, as Conor should be allowed to benefit from the fruits of his labour, but these factors are likely to be unwelcome distractions from his upcoming fight against Michael Chandler, contradicting the message that Conor can exceed his potential. Hopefully he can receive the necessary help and guidance in the near future in order to give him the best possible chance of victory. A further deception of the documentary is the depiction of McGregor as a maturing entity who shows a significant level of respect for opponents, rarely underestimating them, along with avoiding excuses in the aftermath of a defeat. Before the Khabib fight, he evidently caters his training heavily to include offsetting consistent takedown attempts, and post his loss to the Dagestani, he humbly accepts that he wasn't up to the task and needed to be better. Prior to the second fight with Dustin Poirier, he notes the man's evident determination and increasing maturity in the octagon since their bout in 2014, and highlights the respect he feels for him. He later admits his inability to deal with the constant leg kicks, which effectively ended his chance of winning the second bout. No excuses there. It's obviously common knowledge that Conor largely built his reputation in the early years through smack talking, mocking and denouncing his opponents, which we do somewhat see in his approach to the third Poirier fight. But this was largely portrayed as a tactical move in the documentary in order to rattle Dustin and overcome the notion of Conor giving his opponent too much respect in the last fight. If you watch more recent clips from McGregor, you will see this depiction of him as a maturing, respectful individual seems to be a facade. His delusion and cockiness is still all too apparent.
I'm the guy I asked, you're at super middle, Canelo's at super middle, can we make that super fight?
I saw Ryder. I'm a southpaw. Ryder was a southpaw. Billy Joe was a southpaw.
Yeah.
I've seen methods. I've seen things I do, and I know he's waning. I'd fight Canelo, no fucking problem. Yeah, that was straight, no problem.
I've seen you tweeted something about Floyd. You're saying if you had a second go, you can make some adjustments.
Sure.
Would you finish him or?
I'd for sure look to. I'd love to go back in with my old boxing coach.
You'll do what you're told. I'm gonna pin you. This is my game. This is my game forever.
And I should mention that I'm not knocking Conor for this arrogance and self-belief. After all, this persona is why he garnered such widespread success, but the documentary's message surrounding Conor's conduct was frankly confusing and largely untruthful at times. He is still very much a person who entirely believes his own hype, demonstrating unwavering confidence bordering upon delusion. So why exactly did the documentary shift away from McGregor's bad boy persona and depict him as a changed man, a saint to be exact? Ballard John, who assisted me in writing this script, has pointed to comparisons with Cristiano Ronaldo. With football being the largest sport in the world, the superstars such as Ronaldo are compelled to maintain a sparkly clean, public-friendly image, receiving hundreds of millions from sponsorships. He doesn't even consume alcohol in the off-season. He is effectively the quintessential role model for many, and perhaps the documentary sought to portray McGregor in a squeaky clean light to foster global sponsorship deals as his career begins to slowly draw to an end, in light of his recent antics which have somewhat tarnished his image.
Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby, hit me back up, I'll chat to you later on. We'll be at the after party, the Win nightclub, baby. You looking big, you little hoe.
Maybe the biography is an attempt to rewrite the narrative surrounding the fighter. Regardless, it would have been nicer to get an insight into the raw and real sides of Conor. Near the end of the documentary, we see Conor's recovery from his leg break as he gradually begins to step up his weight and fitness training. He then states to the camera that he has barely unlocked his potential, leaving the impression that he will return to the octagon stronger than ever before. It is effectively implying that Conor will be back to reignite his legacy in MMA with an overwhelming hunger to drop any man put in front of him. Well, aside from what I've already mentioned, there is one worrying sign which suggests that this narrative could be far from the truth. McGregor hasn't fought for roughly 2 years now, but he has hinted at when his return is likely to be.
You look good. When are you back?
Sometime end of summer.
End of summer. You're the man. Thank you.
Nevertheless, you can see from his Instagram posts and recent footage that he has bulked up. His face shows clear signs of weight gain, and he has the appearance of more of a bodybuilder than a mixed martial artist. He's therefore not necessarily in bad shape, but history suggests that this extra muscle could derail his chance of a victory, especially in the championship rounds. He has historically gassed out in fights. Take the Nate Diaz one, where he literally looked as though he would pass out. Then the Khabib one. Even in the second Poirier bout, Conor seemed to be gassing out prior to the stoppage. Consequently, I don't feel that adding a load of mass to his physique was the best option, and if he does get into a brutal trading match with Michael Chandler, especially in the later rounds, he will have less of a chance of keeping up with the pace. If he can trim down his body to a suitable level to fight remains to be seen, but recent footage of him boxing does support the concept that his bigger frame could reduce his overall mobility. The documentary made it seem like it finished at a time when McGregor was getting close to being fighting fit and raring to go, but this just wasn't the case. I did enjoy the documentary itself. As a person who enjoys making them, I can certainly appreciate the level of effort and top tier editing that goes into it, and it's always fascinating to be a fly on the wall during the absolute peaks and devastating depths of a sportsman's journey. But where the documentary falls down is its confused message, as it seeks to depict McGregor as a saint, someone who is entirely dedicated to his family and craft, whilst claiming that he is an individual untouched by the outside distractions and evils. This simply is not the case, and I don't know why the facade is painted. At the end of the day, all fighters have to be slightly unhinged to even step in the cage, so they will often be guilty of violent outbursts and outlandish behaviour. They go through intense periods of training before having long spans of time away from the octagon, so they are far more vulnerable to being enticed by dark habits and distractions. This video was not made to bash Conor in any way. He's an extremely charitable and altruistic person.
I'm going to give checks to two autism charities that support autism. There's one charity that does great things here in Dublin 12, D12 Autism is the name, and then there's another one, Our Lady of Hope, my own nephew Harry goes to. They do great things, so off of the money I'm going to donate.
I just hope he gets the help and guidance necessary to offset the influence of money and failure. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of the documentary and McGregor himself in the comments. Let's start a massive debate, and again, thanks for watching.